everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bling Talks. Today we have Halle Millien. She is the founder of Heart and Stone. Halle, it's a pleasure to have you. Can't wait to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, first off, I just kind of wanted to prompt this question. Tell us how you got into the business because you have a very unique background.
Well, I was doing medical research after college because I thought I wanted to be a physician. And one of my coworkers came in with a necklace and showed me how to make it. And that kind of spiraled into this alternate career where I went back to school and learned how to do silversmithing and metalsmithing and learned how to sketch and draw and realized I wanted to actually be able to create the things I saw in my head that I knew would take too long for me to really become an expert metalsmith. So I went back to school for design at FIT, or Fashion Institute of Technology in New York. And that was about 17 years ago, and it's just kind of been an evolution of ever since, of exploring this field of jewelry and accessories and how it all like comes together, and the design, the why behind the design.
Yeah. Well, that's just incredible. So, did you work for any big kind of corporations? Like, how did you go from that transition of working in government and that space, following your passion into design, going to FIT, and then getting into your own business? How did you kind of go from that to that?
Well, luckily, after I decided to go back to school, I was very intentional about really knowing that I wanted to get an internship and getting some type of real world experience about how corporate design works. Because in my intention was always to be candidly a working designer. I always wanted to make sure that I could work for a bigger company and learn the business of design instead of just the design aspect, because as much as I love design, I really am interested in the business of design as well. And so while I was at FIT, one of my instructors helped me get an internship at Liz Claiborne, a company that was based in New York. I think everyone should be pretty familiar with that brand. And so from there, I interned and then freelanced and moved into another company in Atlanta, which is a silver company. We did jewelry for Macy's and HSN and QVC and all types of silver with diamonds and gemstone, and really kind of helped me hone my design skill and like hand sketching and just being able to design at volume, and then continue to evolve like as designers we call it our hand, and like what I can design into and my perspective on jewelry. I moved in, worked with a private design label in Atlanta where it was more vintage inspired, and I was able to help kind of talk about the design as well as market some of that. And so it was an interesting role as far as leading design, working with our factories, as well as being able to promote and talk about the story behind the design, which is really important for designers and jewelers at this point, because I know that oftentimes we get so caught up in like the price point and like, can we get this stud for this price? But a lot of times I've found that consumers don't necessarily they care about price point, but they really do care about the story and who they're buying from. And so I've learned along the way kind of how to do that. And after Atlanta, I moved to Fossil Group, I worked on the Michael Kors jewelry line and the Fossil brand and Skagen brand, and worked on jewelry for them. And during that time, I really wanted to start my own line, and where Heart the Stones came from is just because of my love of gemstones. And so I was provided an opportunity to apply for a diamond program with the Natural Diamond Council, and help launch my initial line. And so what you see today is in collaboration with the Natural Diamond Council, and that has been really awesome. And their support and being able to kind of open up industry doors in ways that I was not available to me initially for a while, for a long time. So it's been really, really exciting. And so I'm doing that right now.
That is an incredible story. That's an incredible story. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's incredible. Um, so wow, you really kind of have evolved. How long did that take you to kind of, how long have you done in that time frame? When did you go? I know the 16 years ago was kind of when the education happened, but when did you go from, and you didn't met, I know you probably being a little modest, but I saw like, Tiffany's and Harry Winston and all types of, you've worked with the biggest companies really in the world when it comes to this. How long did you go from, hey, I want to be a business owner, to actually having the business launched?
I When I was at FIT, I wanted to be a business owner, but I really didn't understand the business. Um, and I also really wanted to design under people who have designed at the biggest houses and really could train me in ways that I could really appreciate the craftsmanship of design. But I probably, I blogged for years, and had a jewelry blog that was called Romancing the Stones, and just like really have always just kind of dipped my toe around around having a business. But it was 2 years ago that I launched my Heart the Stones business. And so it's been a slow evolution of launching the product and just kind of seeing what the consumer response to that, and continuing to slowly like grow my assortment over the past 2 years.
Awesome. Well, you're doing a good job at it so far. I really, really liked your website. And
Mm.
one other thing I want to say before we kind of transition in technology and marketing and, you know, um, all that good stuff, which I think is super important right now, is you don't hear a lot of people who are, even some of the designers, who are really looking at this from an artistic perspective and really looking at the side of the business, the craftsmanship, the story behind it, um, as a main piece of value in the exchange or the purchase. So that's super cool. And obviously all of them have their own story because you're creating them from scratch. Do people come in? Okay, I got it. All right. Well, let's talk about the website a little bit. It looks great. It's very
Thank-
well laid out. How did you kind of approach your marketing, and without sharing too much, like what, a little bit about your process and how you're going to market, basically? How are you getting business? How are you going to marketing? What's working, what's not, type of
It's
stuff.
still There's still like a lot of word of mouth. There's still some, I've done some product. I've had some of my product in editorials and things like that. So it's been more like word of mouth, and just even JCK, showing at JCK.
Mm.
Um, and that was that kind of opened doors to having conversations with retailers. So it's been that, and then also just kind of making sure my website has been vetted for like SEO and showing up on Google and all of that. So it's kind of been some of making sure some of those boxes are checked.
Mhm.
Um, and making sure that I've had some like reviews and all of that. So it's all kind of a couple of methods to the madness. But I realized that, and also just social media, making sure that I'm sharing some of the behind the scenes on social media has been really key to some of my business success.
Absolutely. Awesome. And as far as the new wave of artificial intelligence and things like that, is it on your radar? What do you think about it?
I
To tell us where you're at.
I'm very excited about it, especially as a solopreneur. It's really, I think it's vital to use AI to really be successful, because, I think 20 years ago, if you were a solopreneur, it's so much harder to do some of like write the emails, follow up on social. Like there's just so many things you have to, even crafting the copy for your website, crafting blog posts, some of that can be you can be supported through an AI to do that and drive business to your website. And so I think now having those tools, even having some of like the AI images that you can use for backgrounds for your jewelry, and like mixing some of that content together to create interesting imagery is really helpful. So I think there's so much to be used and like implemented. It's just, I know sometimes it feels overwhelming because it's another tool to learn, but it's just part of what we need to do to kind of continue to be successful in this changing marketplace.
Yeah, there's definitely, well, there's the human point of view on what's going on here with AI, and then there's the business point of view. And in the business point of view, we don't really have much of a choice.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's like saying, I don't want to use the internet or something like that. Except sometimes worse, actually.
Right. It's like you're saying you don't want to use a cell phone. You're like, well, you cannot use a cell phone, and that would be that's going to limit a lot of how you operate in the world. And so
yeah, especially as a retailer. So that's awesome. And you know what? There's definitely a little bit of thought to be had when it comes to design and the law when it comes to being a jewelry designer, but we'll see how that all plays out. But it's some of these proprietary rights when it comes to AI are a little bit finicky right now. So something to look into. I also have a really good attorney for that when it comes to AI stuff like that. But all cool, exciting stuff that's emerging in the market. And it's great to hear that you're kind of crushing it with what you're doing. Obviously, if there's anything the community can do to help you, reach out. And if there's a way that somebody could get a hold of you, please do let them know right now. Instagram, website URL, whatever you want. We'd love to be able to get a hold of you and check out your work.
Yes, the website is Heart the Stones. It's HeartThestones.com. I can be reached on LinkedIn under Halle Millien. You can see more of just like my work history and just kind of reach out, and we can talk about marketing, design, all of that. And then you can also reach me at hello@heartthestones.com. So I would love to, I'm always one for having conversations within the industry about what's successful, what's not, what, sharing tips and tricks, and just talking more about the business. And always, my heart is with design. So if you have interest in design, I always would love to have those conversations as well.
Absolutely amazing. I think you'll be great for the community. That's exactly what we're here to do, is help support, connect, grow together, things like that. Guys, heartthestones.com.
Yes, Heart the
Halle
Stones.
Millien, you've been an absolute rock star to talk to. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, and look forward to watching you continue to grow.
Thank you, Anthony, for having me. I appreciate it. And patience as things have been evolving. So I know this has been a long time coming, but I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Give yourself a pat on the back. You're super impressive. I really mean that. And thanks for your time. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.